What is going on, guys? It's Dan here from the Wolfpack, and although I am smiling, I am dying inside. That was a shocker today. 3 penalties is absolutely inexcusable, and our defence today was outright terrible. I am going to completely go in on them today. I am very much one of these people that will tell you how it is. So please stick around and let's rant. So guys, before we get into it, do me a big favour, as always, supporting the channel, liking that video, subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. That would be amazing. Thank you, guys. Listen, 4-2 against Bournemouth at home was definitely not on the cards today. Even though we've had a hard season so far, we're fighting in that relegation zone already. Yeah, it's been doom and gloom really for the majority of the season. That Fulham win, the fact that we hadn't lost a game for a while, Bournemouth, it looked like a game really that was more into Wolves' favour, I think, just because of the fact it was at home and Wolves have looked very good. We've had some good individual attacking performances, and we finally got a clean sheet last game. It just felt like it was gonna be one of those games where Wolves could put on a show for the fans, and we could start to really think about moving up the table a little bit. And from minute one, guys, that was not the case today. Let me just say that the defence has completely let down the attack today. I feel so sorry for anyone in that attacking lineup today. They must be looking behind them and just thinking, why do I even bother, man? Why do I even bother? Because it's the worst defensive performance, albeit Brentford. Just an absolute shocker. We're going to talk all about it, as always. If you're new to a match review, we're going to obviously talk about the stats in the game, what happened, the key moments in the game, and then we'll rate all the players, and I'll give you my sort of overview, really, and my review and my opinions, I guess. And leave yours in the comments. That would be great, guys. Love seeing all your comments. Helps build a picture, I suppose, a bigger picture. Anyway, let's get into it. This is how Wolves lined up against Bournemouth. So we started with Sarr in goal. Oh God, Semedo, Lamina, Gomez, and Aït-Nouri as our back 4. Andre and João Gomez as our midfield 2. Front 3 of Bellegarde, Cunha, and Rodrigo Gomez, and then we had Strand Larsen as on his own as a number 9. And I know a lot of people are going to be thinking Gary O'Neill out after that performance, but you know what? It's each to their own, and I'll get into that right at the end. I don't blame you for saying either, really. Give him the benefit of the doubt or kick him out, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And the kind of reason I bring that up is because you look at this lineup and you think, why wouldn't you do this? Because this was a winning side. This was a side that didn't leak goals, that looks defensively sound. Sarr made some fantastic saves. Why would you take him out for someone who's not been well? It just looked like I said at the start. It just looked as though this would be a team that would get us all 3 points today. Hindsight's a bitch. And then that's all there is to it. We're going to talk about the individual players at the end. Let's talk about how this game went. So in the first half, it seems like we've got a lot of possession, but we didn't do anything with it. Bournemouth looked much better on the ball than us and threatened our back line consistently. That's why their expected goals are at 2.22 and ours are only at 0.23. They had 6 shots on target and 3 big chances. So this is basically an attacking display that just terrified our defence today, and that's why you see such a high number. But that would be okay. That would be okay. You get dominated by a better team than you. You take the L and you move on. But the nature of how we conceded these goals, that's a different story, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So there was 3 penalties in this game, and Kluivert put 3 away. It's the first time that's ever been done in the Premier League. Leave it to Wolves to gift things to teams that have been struggling. They're a good team, Bournemouth, but as of late, they've not found a consistent patch, a purple patch. Leave it to Wolves to produce that for them. We do this every season. But to gift away, I know it's close to Christmas, but to gift 3 penalties to a team at home is absolutely ludicrous and inexcusable by any stretch. I would be absolutely livid if I was Gary O'Neill with the defensive display today, but also the mentality of these defenders. They just looks like they didn't even know who each other were at all. It was borderline comedy at the back today. Do you know what I mean? It was like they were all stand-up comedians. I had to laugh at some points today because I felt like I was going to bloody cry if I didn't. It was just an absolute joke. But yeah, let's talk about these penalties. The first one comes from a ball over the top. If you remember Gary O'Neill talking in the press conference, saying specifically that we were to expect, several balls over the top. It's just how Bournemouth play. We didn't expect. We apparently we didn't expect it because Totti's completely beaten by Evan Nilsson, and he just chops him down. It's a penalty. So early on, it just completely it spelled defeat for me, because of the nature of when it was in the game and how easy it was for us to be completely torn apart defensively. It felt very much like that Brentford defeat in the nature of how often we were punished for defensive mistakes. And then Strand Larsen, who I thought was fantastic today, by the way, ends up getting a goal. And this is what I was saying. The attackers today should feel super hard done by, and the defenders should hang their head in shame. So should the goalkeeper, because they have let down Strand Larsen today. Strand Larsen does really well with this goal. Bellegarde puts it in. Great ball in. Great header from Strand Larsen. Super powerful, athletic header. And it's 1-1, and you're thinking, okay, all right. If we just, say, you know what, it was a defensive error. Let's just concentrate now, lads. Let's not piss about with the ball at the back. You can already see Bournemouth are on top of us every time we're trying to get it play out. You can see that's not working. Play long, be defensively sound. Don't switch off. What do? They switch off. Oh my God, the amount of times we complain, it's like deja vu, isn't it, for Wolves fans? How many times are we going to complain about how we play out from the back? Sarr can't control the ball at his feet at all, and I think sometimes the defense doesn't give him the call. They don't call out. They don't look at the surroundings and call out for situations that may or may not arise. And oh my God, I didn't think it was a penalty in the ground. I really didn't. I thought it's gone to VAR. You know, the referee at the time didn't give it. It went to VAR. He checked the screen for like what seemed like 2 seconds. I don't even feel like the screen even lifted off the bloody thing. It scissor lifted up for about 5 seconds. He looked at it once and went, "Yeah, that's a pen." I've seen it since, and I do think it's a penalty because of the nature of the kick and where it hits the player. It's clumsy from Sarr in the first place, but it's clumsy from our defence playing it out the back like that when you've got tricky Bournemouth players lurking in the shadows. Just play it long. And I'm going to talk about the third penalty in a minute, but I think that's the worst out of all of them, by the way. But this one, it just came at a bad time, and then it's 2-1 to them, and at that moment, you're just thinking that it just ain't going to happen for us today. We go in at half time, and it's 3-1. I've missed a goal out, haven't I? Oh my God! Honestly, it was one of those games today which was hard to understand what was going on half the time. They score a second goal, guys, before this second penalty. My bad. And this second goal for me is just a very good goal. It really is. I thought at the time, it was really poor defending from Wolves, but Lemina's caught out of position, trying to sort of mop up an area in which leaves a giant gaping hole on that one side. And we get punished because there was some really, really good link-up play from Bournemouth that leads to a good goal. And there's nothing really you can say about that one. I think that's the only one for me that I can say, fair enough, you know. It's then, obviously, then we go in at 3-1 when we're back to normal now. There was a lot of controversy in terms of the ref today. He didn't call many fouls for them and all this, but I do think in hindsight now and in the heat of the moment, it really wasn't a display today from the ref that led to the loss of Wolves. It was literally wrapped up in a lovely little package and delivered by Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? It was just absolutely gifted. The game was completely gifted to him. Apart from that goal I just spoke about, gifted. Second half, you know, they get they play the game exactly the same. Really, I still think Wolves, you know, with Dawson coming on, I don't really think that really did anything. I actually think today, and I'll talk about player scores at the end, but I think Andre today was very poor, in my opinion. Got caught out a lot today. Lost the ball countless amounts of times. And for me, I think he should have been subbed off sooner. Let me just double check something here, because I was gonna. Yeah, Tommy Doyle was on the bench. What has Tommy Doyle done to deserve not playing in this football match? Because you could tell that we were getting dominated in the midfield. What has Tommy Doyle done to Gary O'Neill? Because for me, that's a good substitution. You sub off Andre, who can't keep the ball, keeps losing the ball, to a player that has proven time and time again he will get you out of tough situations and whatever. And he just didn't get substituted today, and I just think that's a bit weird, in my opinion. It's just a very strange occurrence that he never got substituted. But anyway, I digress. We just looked poor throughout that second half. Bournemouth very much frustrated. Wolves left us begging for the ball at times, to be honest. Bournemouth just seemed to not really have to get into any sort of gear, really. They just cruised along, you know, activated cruise control, put the feet up, and just allowed us to completely keep giving the ball away, keep losing second balls, not trying anything too progressive. Eventually, Gary O'Neill does make a few changes, and Gonzalo Guedes comes on and makes a bit of a, he makes a good run, to be fair to him. I've watched it back, and it's quite clever by him. Kind of takes the ball in his stride from a pass from the back, and isn't greedy with it. Sees the run of Strand Larsen. Strand Larsen puts it in, and at that moment, it's 3-2. And you're thinking, all right, okay, finally, maybe we can still salvage something from this game. But I'm going to keep saying it. The defence let us down today again, guys. If you can believe it. Let us down again. This time, another penalty. And this one, for me, is the worst one. Dawson, he just has the biggest brain fart in the world. He looks to pass forward, and he's got Nelson Semedo here and João Gomez here, with a player, fair enough, causing him a bit of grief coming towards him. He backheels the ball to sort of deceive the bloke that's running towards him, and then just puts this ball into Jose Sar's path, who is absolutely nowhere near this pass. Nowhere near. And it ends up at Evan Nelson's feet. And Jose Sá, I actually think, is lucky to stay on the pitch here, because he gets absolutely none of the ball. Fouls the player. They both go down in a lump. And then it's another penalty. And, of course, Kluivert was excellent today with his penalties. Fair play to him. Puts all three away. It's then 4-2, and you're just thinking, oh my God, guys, can we not just hold on to a little bit of positivity? Our defence leaks goals for fun. Like the shittest plumber in the world. I just don't understand it. Like, we just leak constantly. And it's been the problem all season. What are we doing in the training ground? Like, what drills are we doing to improve the defence of these players? Because we've had one clean sheet. One clean sheet. That's shocking. And again, let down by the defence. It just wasn't good enough today. I'm actually really annoyed at the mentality of that defence today. Just looked so weak, man. Just so weak. Like, every time Bournemouth went forward, it looked like they were going to score. It honestly did. It was Brentford away all over again. It was just an absolute joke. It was a joke. I thought Bournemouth played well today. I do think Bournemouth played well, but I do feel like we gifted them, 3 penalties. Let's just put it out there. We gifted them those, and they scored a very good goal. Let's talk about the player scores, because honestly, that's the match. That is the match. Wolves could not hold on to any sort of positivity, could not get any momentum whatsoever. And was let down by the defence. Let's talk about the players and what I'd rate them. I'm a bit confused, to be fair. A lot of these are green. The hell's going on there? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Jose Sá today. Jose Sá today, guys. Showed exactly why we spent 10 million on a goalkeeper, because when things really start to show like holes in our defence, Jose Sá cannot deal with pressure whatsoever. Like, he cannot deal with pressure whatsoever, and he crumbles underneath it. And he's done this countless amounts of times. Fantastic shot stopper. But in games like this, where a team is punishing that defensive line, you've got to show more to your game than just arrogantly punting the ball out and not being aware of your surroundings. Or, you know, I do think some of these errors, like I said earlier, are very much down to some of the players that were in front of him. I do. I think some of the passes towards him were shocking, and playing around the back is just silly anyway when there's players in your vicinity. But yeah, just not good. Then we've got Aït-Nouri and Semedo, and I think both of those really. Let's talk about them separately, actually, because I feel like they both did very different things today. I thought Aït-Nouri got forward well enough and whatever, yeah, but I don't think defensively he was all there today. I just feel like in a back five, I think Aït-Nouri really flourishes because he can get forward and he's got that cover. In a back four, it's just, you know what? I am going to put Semedo in the same scoring because they were both guilty of leaving too much space behind, and they were getting so much joy. Bournemouth were out wide, constantly, and they were out of shape a lot, and really should have started holding the line a lot better than they did. For Toti Gomez is today's performance. I mean, the goal in general, the penalty giveaway. Sorry, for the first goal in general was just really, really silly, I guess. But his overall positioning today was terrible. And like I said, I'm going to put them all in the same sort of ballpark. Really, they just didn't look. They just looked like strangers. They didn't look like they know who each other were, and they were just passing around like, "What are you doing?" Like, have a little bit about you, and just have a second to think about where you're gonna be on the pitch and where you should be on the pitch. And they were all 6s and 7s today. I don't know why Lemina's got 8.1. Because yes, okay, you know, out of position again as a defender, and you know he did put some good tackles in, and he did get about and whatever. But I wouldn't put any of those defenders today. I wouldn't put any of them higher than a 6. They were all average, and for me, I said this when I left the ground. I think we've got a Premier League attack force and a Championship defence, and I stick by it. I think our defending is just absolutely ridiculously bad at times, and the decision making and everything is just not there, is it? We just look like we're so slow on ideas. It just looks like we take so long to come up with solutions, and our thought patterns just seem to just take forever to actually come into fruition. I don't know how Andre has got over a 7. I think Andre was absolutely shite today. I think Andre was the worst player on the pitch. Gave the ball away literally so many times today. I was screaming at watching Andre today. Couldn't keep the ball. Yes, okay. His second half performance was probably a little bit better, but I honestly think he should have been subbed off for Tommy Doyle. I do. I think Joe Gomez did better than him. I don't understand why Joe Gomez has got a slower score. I think Joe Gomez showed moments of brilliance getting forward, but midfield in general was bad. But I mean, they weren't helped by that awful defence, were they? Thankyou today, he couldn't get any momentum, and that really is a problem, really. In which I think like we were trying too hard to use Thankyou at times. Like even when he was in silly positions, we were giving him the ball and just expecting him to do absolute magic. And it's not going to work all the time, is it? Do you know what I mean? You can't just rely on one player. But I don't think he was terrible. Still showed some intelligent passes, some intelligent movement. And sometimes I don't think the players were on his wavelength, if I'm honest. Sometimes I was looking around thinking, if players were on Cunha's wavelength, sometimes I feel like we would have got a lot more joy today. But none of these players were great, by the way. I think the only player you can honestly say was really, really good today was Strand Larsen. I mean, his 2 goals, amazing. But he never stopped running. He never stops running, Strand Larsen. The second game in a row now where he hasn't been substituted. And I completely understand it because he was great today. He really was. He was awesome today. And unlucky to be on the losing side. I feel really sorry for him because he put his goals away nicely. But it's nice to see him scoring. Do you know what I mean? Your number 9 scoring is always a positive. It's just disappointing. You know, when he looks behind him and he sees that defence. I saw Cunha when we let in that third penalty. I saw Cunha fall to the floor and he was just like, oh my God, really, guys? Come on, we've just scored again. Why are you doing this, man? You're making our life miserable. I just feel so sorry for him, man. I thought Rodrigo Gomez, at times, again, showed a bit about him again, like getting forward and everything. I think Bellegarde, other than the assist, was very poor, if I'm honest. Was out of position constantly. Looking for the ball in silly situations, really coming back too far to receive the ball and going back when we really should be going forward. I think Rodrigo Gomez did that a lot more, really, but I think he run out of legs, and I think that's why he came off in the second half. But yeah, Strand Larsen definitely my man of the match. In terms of a Wolves perspective, I get completely why Kluivert gets man of the match. Can see, putting away 3 penalties, that's phenomenal, really. I mean, that shows some bottle to be able to do that. So fair play, and fair play to Bournemouth. If Bournemouth fans are watching, you comfortably beat us today, and I'll take it when it happens. Just think that Wolves today were, and I've said it thousands of times probably in this review, I think we just got let down by our defence. We got let down by our defence. Got let down by our goalkeeper. It was not just a bad day at the office, but like a wake-up call for me. I think the players thought that they were going to just win today, and it was just going to be really, really quite straightforward. And I think that first goal was a bit of a sucker punch. That first penalty was a bit of a sucker punch. I'm still happy that we're scoring goals. I'm still happy that, there's still signs there that we're a very good team to watch attacking wise. We just need to sort this defence out because it's just going to get us relegated. I don't know whether it's a Gary O'Neill thing. I don't know whether it's a personnel thing. I actually think it's a bit of both. I don't think Gary O'Neill got it right today. And I don't think his changes really inspired anyone. Going back from a 4 to a 5 to then a 4 again. They couldn't get any momentum. So actually I thought he was very poor. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next game, if we concede the amount of goals or concede the amount of chances, or just look defensively just inept, I actually think he might go. I do, because it's almost like we need a manager now that can just keep us in games, because if we concede every single time we score, we're never going to win football matches. And ultimately that's the situation we're in, guys. What do you think, guys? In the comments, let me know. Were you there today? What you witnessed. It was a bit of a horror show, wasn't it? And I could probably have gone in a lot harder than I have, to be fair. But I think it's just one of those where, it was a freak match. 3 penalties, man. it's just unheard of. And being on the receiving end of 3 penalties scored by the same player, it's just madness. But yeah, guys, if you like that video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And hopefully, guys, hopefully, we've still got some games lined up, really, that we should be getting some points in. Hopefully, this is just one of those freak matches, and we can still move on. But yeah, let me know how you think the next matches are going to go. Like, do you think we're still going to be in the bottom 3 by Christmas? All these questions are really important, and please be respectful in the comments for people's opinions. No matter how radical they might seem to some, we're a channel that very much supports anyone's opinions, as long as they aren't hateful or in any way sort of dodgy, really. But yeah, thanks very much, guys, for watching, and hopefully this is just a blip, and we can start to hopefully pick up some more points soon. But yeah, nice one, guys. See you later. Bye bye.